I think we can start. Oh, you're muted though.
All right, I was just getting up there to click it to the top. I want to say thank you so much for attending this office hours visit today. It's always my absolute pleasure to give any credit to Visible Body. I can tell you one of my most memorable things is of this COVID time is how it really transported us outside of the classroom. It transported us outside of our homes. It brought us together. So I'm really excited to tell you about how you can activate and engage your students with a visible body. Why? What's the benefit? Accessibility 24 hours, 7 days a week. We have no more needing to get into the lab because they have the lab at home with them. Also, we can assess our students in creative ways. I am of the school of thought that we need to bring back some oral exams, right? And this is what Visible Body allows us to do, to think outside of the box and how we are going to assess and engage our students. Also, to lose the abstraction of the body, right? We get to see inside, we get to see the microanatomy, we get to put the physiology on top of it. There's powerful apps that help you to really cement this information for your students. It is very cost effective, like $50. Everyone has $50. But even if your students are come from a lower income, any kind of socioeconomic things that might keep them away from this product, you can get creative. I wrote a grant personally for St. Edward's where I was able to bring this in, and it was a $5,000 grant. That is not a small amount of money, but that's also not a large amount of money to ask your college or your university for. So you can also cost share with your students if you want to. So maybe they pay, $25 and the school pays $25, but the benefit is immense. Plus, you get a permanent download of this. So they pick one device they want to, and they get to use this as a resource over and over and over again. What is the result from this? Student success, right? They get to be able to kind of choose their own adventure. That's my favorite thing. I can't wait to tell you about it because the students get to drive how in detail they want to look, when they want to look, what's the best time. And that all leads to retention and connection, right? When we can bring them back to the body, when we can bring it back to something that's relevant to them. So don't worry about it, right? It's tools, it's new technology. That's the next thing people always say. My students don't want this technology. I don't want to learn new technology. User friendly, user friendly, user friendly. I can't say this enough, right? They make pre made courses. They allow them to pair them with so many different textbooks. So even if you have something you're already using, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. They have a great selection of materials. Soon to come, soon and soon, LMS integration. Can't wait. It's just right around the corner. There is a great book. You can follow and track your students exactly what they're doing. And this brings me to the point of why we're here today, community, right? We can get international community of instructors and students to join in this conversation with us, right? Just how can we use this digital age to our advantage? So we hope we're going to come back in the classroom in fall, but we know that we cannot get away from this digital world. So let us embrace it and use beautiful tools like Visible Body to help us connect, right, us to the students. Mary, can't say enough about Mary, right? I just got introduced to Courtney. She's been amazing, but Mary was my go-to person. Anytime I want to know something, to actually even get help with my grant, they're available, they are accessible, and they are ready to help you. They want just as much as we do to really enhance our students' learning. That's what I get from Mary. It's not about a product, it's about how can we improve your life and the student's life. And that's really, they're responsive. It's so great. So I mentioned this before. The integration with LMS is coming. So I've been a user of Blackboard and Canvas. This thing is very integratable. They will get deeper connections soon and soon. So the Visible Body team is always working to get these tools in our hands. So I know that they're right around the corner. One of my favorite things, and I'll show you in a little bit, is this augmented reality. It is, like I said, transferred. You just get to go outside of yourself and look through new lens. It's a new perspective. It's all about the equity, if you will, that we can actually get in there and see things like never before. That's what the microanatomy and the physiology apps, I think, do. And then there's a great updated atlas. If you haven't had a chance, please do take a little tour, click. That's the best advice Mary gave me. Just get in there and just click around. You're going to find so much stuff that you never knew. I want to just take a second and show you a little bit of how I used it in my classroom. True or false, these pads in between are made out of hyaline cartilage. The pads that are found in between our vertebral column are made out of hyaline cartilage. True. False. They're made out of fibrous, right? Fibrocartilage. And I'm glad you answered me. I love you. Thank you for being brave. Yeah, fibrocartilage. Remember that really wavy lines help us to have a little bit more structure there. What about down here? What is this bone? Love highlighting. Sacrum. Sacrum. What it comes directly after the sacrum? Those little, the coccyx. Coccyx, right? And it's like a fusion of those bones, right? How many? What helps us to shake our head yes and no? What bones help us to shake our head yes and no? What are the first two vertebrae? Axis and atlas. Exactly, the axis and the atlas. True or false? These pads. I just want to say that that's just a little taste of how you can bring your students in, right? We often have so much disconnect. They sit behind these computers. They don't turn on their cameras for whatever reason, right? And we have to respect the reason that they do. But what Visible Body can do is bring them into the conversation. I hope you noted right at the top of the right-hand screen that there is actually things the students could pick up on, that if I clicked it, it can engage them. It could actually give them a little bit of confidence that they knew the right answer. So you can bring your students in. Even if it takes a little bit of time for you to get them talking, I hope that you notice that there are several different voices there. So people get this momentum, they get it going. And this is what takes me to my most exciting part of Visible Body, a field trip, augmented reality. This, especially in the COVID time with our first full-time semester, so I introduced this last fall, the students were so actually losing hope, and that's not an easy thing to do. And I want us to all know as educators that that is one of our biggest gifts we can give to our students is hope, and for them to see themselves inside of us, right? So by taking this and allowing them to kind of get into the material, they're able to build a community. They're able to have the same equal access to this beautiful product and then use it in a different way. I'm going to get out of this presentation for just a second, and I'm going to show you one more video, but I want to show you just how much fun you can have with your students. Let me make sure you share my screen. Can you see my video? I need to do a new share. Are you able to see my video? No.
No.
Let me see my new share. Oh, okay. Sometimes, everyone knows this little clicking of the technologies. They try to get away from you. Don't you worry. I would get you back. Here we go. I was just even telling her I have my dual screens and now everything is going away from me. Okay. We are really losing it. Okay, here we go. Oh, there we are.
Real life, right?
Real life right here happening when you try to share your screen and you can't, but that's okay. I got this because I'm very excited to share this with you. And I never want you to stop either. Look at these beautiful students having fun. Look at how much they're engaged with the material. Look at how they're sitting, they're 6 feet apart. They're having fun. They are doing the actions. They are outside. Look at this. I just can't help but to get excited because this is how they remember. This is retention at its finest. So I get so excited when I start to talk about augmented reality and everything that it can really just do for you because it can enhance your classroom like never before. It is a new frontier. This is where we're at. This is the digital age. And I am personally very proud to be part of this, even though I kind of feel like a dinosaur a little. But I'm proud to be on the precipice with this with my students so that they know what kind of technology I want to put in their hands. Can you imagine what it'll even be like for them once they get there? So these are the kind of memories that you make together that keeps it inside of their brain. That is what is going to make it to click. So they get to really engage in a different way. Like I said, I even gave them an assignment in the beginning of the semester, which was choose your own adventure. Let us get through the first couple of weeks. And then after that, you choose whatever subjects you want to know more about. And it allowed me to engage the students on a different level. I got to learn about their learner, right? Like we want to know about our students before they come in, but now I need to know more about how to I really turn that key, be that substrate, be that enzyme for them, right? So that they can get a better connection to the material. So I was able to say, oh, remember how Julia really loved the skull? Let me show you her picture that she drew based on visible body, right? Or I loved how, you know, Julio loved to go into the bones and he was able to make a neat song. The students will show you the plethora of what they can do. Just put them in the driver's seat. And that's exactly what visible body does. Allows you to keep their interest peaked, allows you to bring in something that's relevant, that's new, that looks like the technology they use today. And it's not just me, it's not just this hand waving. I do want to tell you, read this beautiful email, right? It really helped me understand, right? Get an in-depth look. I really love how it gave me the anatomy aspect a lot better. And the definitions helped me too. If you notice again, that little box I showed you at the first video, definitions, pronunciations. It is just right at their fingertips. Everything is there. It's like a living book, if you will. It is like the best companion for anatomy and physiology that you could dream of. I mean, hands down, just hands down. So I'll also tell you, with that grant, I was also able to share some of my codes with the art department. Mary gave me this very great idea, actually. She said, you know what you need to do? You need to appeal to your whole university, right? Let us take it outside of our school. We have visual arts people. Why don't you see some people in your art department can? So I did. I pitched it this way. I would love to give some codes to, you know, some other departments. So with that, I was able to give it to the art department. This particular teacher is actually the department head. So she has a long, extensive career in art. So for her to be able to pick this up and integrate it into her class, I thought, wow, I'm going to learn so much. And I can't wait to show you, if you just read a little bit here of what the technical drawing is. Okay, so she is in detail. She is in depth here in this art. And she wants them to have an anatomically proportionate drawing. And so this is outside of the classroom, okay? This is only in the digital space. Look at how inspirational these drawings are. This was from Visible Body, okay? Being able to rotate and look at all of those things, being able to actually layer things on top. That is the beauty. To know how nerves and muscles join together, to know how the microanatomy and the physiology really go together by being able to select and layer and see exactly what you're drawing. Then you can see beautiful things like this, where the students are gaining such a perspective, such a proportionate, such a scale, and being able to apply it to their work. I am greatly impressed by what I can't draw straight line, but these students were able to take this and see the body without a model. Traditionally, they would have a nude model come to their class and look at the relevance, look at how they were able to really get into detail with this drawing and make this beautiful, beautiful artwork. Yes. So with that, I just want to say, what can Visible Body do for us? Visualize, engage, powerful iteration. Resources, accessibility, I cannot say enough. It is ready for you to use. You don't have to be scared. I even took a professor who is in her 70s underneath my wing this same semester, going out using it in her very, very first semester online teaching. And she was able to implement this tool in her classroom. I did have to do a little bit of hand holding, but after that initial, let me just get your feet wet, she's taken it. Now this semester, I'm not even with her and she is still using Visible Body in her classroom. So with that, I will take your questions. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you for the grant that I was able to get through St. Edward's. Thank you, Mary, for all your help, and Courtney for inviting me to do this today.
Thank you for being here. I couldn't have written anything better than what you just said. So that was great. Okay, so here's how this is going to go. We are going to open the floor up for questions. So if you could use the raise hand feature in Zoom, and then I can unmute you.
And any question goes. So don't, advanced, simple, basic, anything that you have questions about. We're here to answer your questions. We can dive in and show you, live within the program, within Courseware, within the different apps. So we're here for you.
Even if it's a content-based question, even if you want to know something anecdotal, we are here because that's how we get to learn more about how we can use these tools. All
right, Lisa, you're on.
Yeah, I want to know more about this augmented reality videos that the students were creating. Is there a tutorial that they can go through so that they can overlay the movements with what they're doing? And where do I find that?
I will let them finish up, but what I'll say is Mary sent some powerful things. People in the education department of Visible Body produce documents all the time. They have things ready to go, instructions already prepared for the students. So I used a lot of those same things as well, and then just took them through a quick introduction in class. And then I let their creativity go off. They edited that video. If you can see, there's several different students. So not only did they get into the anatomy, but into the creativity, right? This is where we're at with STEAM today, right? We have to know that arts and science go together because it's the visualization that brings you in, and that's how Visible Body connects us. And now let them take it.
Well, and that's cool because I actually do an extra credit assignment with the muscles that is they have to videotape someone doing the movements, tell the movement, and then also the prime mover. And so I love the idea that we could connect it with the actual what's going on with the video.
Lisa, thanks.
Sorry, my cat keeps coming to visit. Lisa, I can send up some follow-up items in tomorrow's email, including some videos about augmented reality. We also have some lesson plans specifically geared toward the muscles that I can also send you. And we also have AR lab activities too. So,
and to show you too, where you can, because part of it too is we can send it, but then it's also how to find it on your own. So can you guys see my screen here?
Yes.
Awesome. So I'm in Visible Body Courseware, and within our programs, we always have help at your fingertips. So in the upper right-hand corner, you can see I can click here, and this is going to take me to help for Courseware, which is the learning platform, which has the courses that we have set up to correlate to your textbooks. We have it broken down where you can submit a support ticket, instructor help, and student help. And the student forum is broken down into step-by-step articles. So it's not, a scrolling 760-page thing that you have to figure out what to ask for. And the same is true within our app. So augmented reality is part of Human Anatomy Atlas. And augmented reality works by taking the format, the information that is in the screen that is in it, and then you're able to then put it into your space. And again, what I would recommend doing is logging into your Atlas and then clicking on the question mark, and there is a section for augmented reality under the iPad or the Android link. And I can go ahead and show you how that works if you'd like. Maybe what we'll do is take another question. I have to grab my iPad, but I can also do a quick little augmented reality demo and show you some other content as well. So what I just did here was I loaded the Human Anatomy Atlas. And so that's just loading up here. I was going to show you where that link is. Within Courseware, within the Instructor Resources tab, we also have the links to lab activities, and they're built into our pre-built courses as well. So I'll show you some more while this is getting loaded, and I'll stop sharing my screen and we'll take another question, then we'll come back. For some reason, I've got too many tabs open.
I will say for any of the uninitiated, augmented reality only works on mobile devices. So it won't work on a computer, but a phone or a tablet. That's how the students will be able to do it. They'll have to download one of the mobile apps from their courseware account onto their phone, or iPad or Android tablet or Windows tablet, whatever they have, and that's how they'll be able to utilize augmented reality. It basically it utilizes the camera in phones and tablets. So
I used part of my grant as well to ask for a tablet because I was not, and it was very useful. So I would just say, look at the support is super fast, and you can actually just send them what kind of device you have. Even Mary is pretty knowledgeable in this, and then they'll let you know if the augmented reality can work on it. But again, there's already so much technology, and with them putting technology into the students' hands, you should also be able to get into something that you can use this in. So don't let that scare you as well.
So I was able to grab my iPad. So what I've done here is, this is Human Anatomy Atlas 2021, which is loading. And so I'm on my iPad right now. And as Courtney says, this is built into all of our software, and you utilize it on your mobile device, and it works for Apple, it works for Android tablets or phones. If your phone basically is like 3 years old or maybe 4 years old now or newer, it has that content. So I'm in Atlas, and so here you can see, I'm going to go ahead and just select this view of the heart and lungs. And so I can rotate, I can select any structure, and I have information up here in the right-hand corner with the name of it. I can drill into the details with our details tab here. But for augmented reality, down here in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see I can just click on that button. And what that's doing now is, oops, I clicked it twice. I'm too fast. I'm such a clicker, like when somebody unlocks the car, I'm always trying to open it too soon. So you can see here, so what I'm doing now is I'm looking for a flat surface. And so I get that square, and I'm able to then go ahead and touch that square, and it then puts that structure into my space. And so here you can see there's my chair in the corner with all my stuff on it. And I can then utilize that content. And depending on what I choose, so here, because I've chosen the serratus anterior, that's what I still have selected, I have this related content. So I can choose one of those muscle actions that's tied to that, and I now have that structure in my class. So here within this lab activity, you can see here that we've got launch the view, go here, and then find this view. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn my iPad back on to show you how cool this is. So let's go here. And so share, click the button. And so let's see, it's taken just a second, a little bit of a lag here. Hopefully this will work with Zoom and everything that we've got going on here. So can you guys see my screen yet? My augmented reality. There we go. It's coming up now. There we go. Can you see it now? Awesome. So here I'm coming over and I'm coming back to my computer screen. And now I'm going to go to, and I'm going to that lab activity I was showing you, and see that blue arrow. So students can then click into this lab activity, and I don't have it printed out, and I can click on that. And what it does is it then brings up that structure that I need to have. Oops, I've lost it. Let's just reposition it. There it is, to be able to answer those questions. So these are hyperlinked, again, getting students excited about the content, and students love to play with this. I hear from faculty all the time that they'll ask students to take screenshots of the cadaver in different places in their house, right? There's different things that you can do with that. So that kind of gives you, does that help, Lisa, as far as kind of some resources and how to get to those?
Yeah, and I'll go play around and mess around and see what I can do and go from there. But that's a good starting point. Thank you.
You're welcome. And Lisa, I'm available for you.
Yes, I do.
We're going to call that flat Stanley. We're going to call that now like flat VB. Where can you do it? Where can
Paul is the name. Although I think we might need to do some more fluidity with that naming.
Yeah.
Jeannie might be better.
Slim.
Is everyone feeling about implementing new technology into your classroom? Is there anything that's just right on the edge of what is keeping you from maybe adopting this technology? Because that is what I really wanted to do for you guys, is to be here to answer those questions and to hopefully rest some of those fears that you have. I took on so much with the grant and different types of technology. So I do have some experience with students becoming overwhelmed. We all can be zombies, as they call it, right? We get fatigued. So if there's some really questions like that, I would love to try to fill them as well, because Visible Body did allow me to get my students engaged. I've used McGraw-Hill. I love APR Revealed. I've used now Visible Body. And I think that there's so much of a beautiful space that you can find. You are um, should be confident in your skills as an educator, right? But then now you're going to see from a new perspective how you can use tools that are even very accessible to you to bring it into your classroom. And again, $50 is not that much to allow your students this companion that they can have. For this is a permanent download, right? So they do have to be, conscientious. Which device am I going to download this to? Because they need to keep that device. But other than that, it is theirs forever. I teach a lot of human anatomy. These are just a very quick course where it's 2 semesters of anatomy and physiology in one. And these people are primarily wanting to go to medical school. So they say, thank you. I've had people come back and say, thank you for putting these tools in my hands before I got to actual cadaver labs, so that I can have that reference point. And they have their device there with them, right? It's so easy to just access that and go back. So putting the tools in their hands, right? We can do this. So Donna, I really want that hat. Every time I look at your picture, I can't help but to smile. I just want your hat right now.
We have Louise. Louise, you're up.
Hi there. I've come on this because Donna and I are looking at getting visible bodies for our brand new school that's coming up. And so we have been very traditional teaching up until this point. So we understand that we need to take this leap, but it's really, there's a big learning curve for all of this, and it all just sounds so exciting, and I can see so many opportunities. The question I have is, we talk very specifically within our school about very much detailed information on a very small area, like the pelvis and the diaphragm. Those really are our key areas. And so the broad spectrum of it obviously is very important, but for our students, it's really the pelvis and the diaphragm. And I'm really trying to come up with different ways of how we can, dissect and play around and displacing ligaments of a uterus. And those are the kind of things that we talk about, prolapse and whatever. And I don't know quite what my question is, but before we take the leap, I'm just hoping that there's enough detailed information. I'm assuming there is, because Visible Bodies is flipping amazing, is what I'm seeing. That detailed information is contained within there.
It is. I will fill the first part, and then I will let my partners help me with this. And what I can tell you is the abstractness. I really wanted to bring that up as a part, because what do we do traditionally in the classroom? We put a skeleton in front of them, we learn the bones, and then we have those plastic models that we put in them, and we're trying to get them to connect how these bones are underneath this set of muscles. And then if we do happen to have enough money at our school that we have a detailed enough model, maybe we might be able to appreciate the nerves, the blood vessels, how they innervate. But that's a given. I don't know what you have at your school, but some of the equipment that I've been having to use is outdated. They fall apart. You can hardly not have enough models for each student. That's why I said it's accessible at each time. I have never found a place a different program before. The layering, to be able to look at the innervation, to be able to lay that on top of it, to be able to go into the microanatomy. If you've never had a chance to go into some of those microanatomy ones, it is so beautiful. It is so detailed, to be able to really say, okay, now when your sympathetic nervous system is stimulated and we go into rest and digest, let me be able to tell you exactly where that nerve is going down to your pelvic area so you don't poop. I love to talk about this, right? So maybe, I don't know what age your students are, so obviously we have to make sure that it's age appropriate, but it is so beautiful. And netters, and that's something I'll bring my netters off of the shelf. That is something that I use. That is why I love netters, because you can always have those transparencies to lay over. This puts it in the student's hand to be able to select down in detail, to layer it off, to only look at the leg, to only look at the nerve, to only look at the innervation of the blood vessels. It is amazing. I cannot say enough of the relevance that I can bring to the body, to be able to show them in such a detailed view exactly what you're showing, what you're talking about, in order to get them to connect, right?
Yeah, that's music to my ears. Thank you.
So this is thank you, Keisha. This is Human Anatomy Atlas. And so you have the ability to look at the different views at the level and the detail that you want to do here. And so what we do within Atlas is that we have these quick views, right? So when I selected this view, I was in the nervous system, and I selected the lumbar plexus, the lower part of the body with the nerves and the muscles. I'm not going to pretend I know, but you can see here that I have this interactive muscle, and then I have the ability to be able to add structures in a lot of different ways. So I can use the systems tray over here on the left-hand side, and I can then choose the regional component, so that if I'm working just in the pelvis and hip area, that then allows me to be able to layer in what I want. So I can then layer in the reproductive system here. This is a male model. If I want to switch it to a female model, we have the full male and female models. I can come up here to the settings area, and this is where I can then change that model from male to female. So we can just do that. And then you also see some of the other resources that we have here. So font size, we have language, it's available in 7 different languages. Again, I encourage you to click and explore. You cannot break this. You can't just click and click and click, and you will love it. So here now we've changed this to the female area, and then I can dissect content away. So I can then hide that right half of the uterus. I can use this little arrow right here as a navigation tool to then show me, so that I can choose, instead of the fundus, just that one section, I can choose that whole half section, or I can say the whole uterus, or I can go up to the ducts. And you can see how then this organizes in such a way so that I can select what I want. I can then dissect it using this hide tool, or this little guy right here, this isolate mode, allows me then to isolate that structure. So then I have just that view that I want. And if I want to add something here, and I don't know what I'm adding, I can come down here to this bottom left-hand corner, this anatomy search tool, and I can then type in the psoas, and I can then add that psoas to that component and have that and build the exact view that I want. Look at Keisha's like doing a dance. I love it.
I'm bursting, because this is exactly how I love to take it in and out of context. Never before have we had these kind of tools in our hands that we can build it up or we can layer it down. And
Yep.
whatever your learners' needs are, they're going to be here. And if they can't, you got a great idea. Like I told them, hey, like I really would love to see more histology things. Mary was great. She took that as well. And she went to her team and they said, hey, we're going to work on that. So not only are they willing to help you customize this product, right, to things that you need, but the apps. Let's talk about the apps. Physiology, Anatomy Atlas. What are the other ones? I'm missing them.
Yeah. So we have anatomy and physiology. So this walks students through. And again, for you Louise, where you have a very specific program. The nice thing with courseware is that what it does is it allows you to then cherry pick the content so you can put together the material that suits exactly what your purposes are. So we use anatomy and physiology is in use in a lot of A&P courses, but it's used kinesiology, athletic training, exercise science, dental hygiene, massage therapy, physician's assistants, medical schools. Harvard is one of our adopters. And so you really have the ability to just customize this experience. And then the other piece, and this is brand new, which is really exciting, is we have this new functionality with Atlas 21, which just updated. We've always had the ability to annotate content, but now it's so much more robust. So I can draw on this. So again, it sounds like you're doing something very synchronous and very niche, right? Very special. So here I can then draw. This allows me to draw on this plane. So I can click and I can hit draw. Oops, I just turned it off. So let's do it again. Hang on. Real life happening here. Too many boxes. And now I can start drawing. And then I have the ability. So if I'm talking about some kind of pathology and I want to make that look a certain way, I can then, do a color here. And then I can change that opacity so that I can do it here so that then this is a little bit lighter, right? And then I can use this arrow and I can pick the color and I can take this and you draw from the corner with the box. Again, here I have the ability to see how that changes the opacity of it. I can do a circle and I can talk about this section right here. And then I can save this view. So now this is brand new that we're able to now not only save these views, you've been able to do this, but then you can thread these views together and create a tour. And you can share that tour with your students. So they have the exact same components. So now when we turn this off and I rotate this around, you can see that those drawings stay on that plane. And then I can come in here and I can then add in, and here again, I've selected the pelvis and the hip, and I can come up here and I can choose those muscles for that pelvis and hip, and I can save, oops, that view, oops, office hour 2. Don't know what we have going on here. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to do even more. And I'm going to add in the integument system because we can see that, how all that works, and save that view. I'm getting a little crazy with the views, but this gives you the idea. Now I have these great things. And now if you just created this while you were talking, you can just then work your way back and be like, we talked about this and we talked about this. So you were able to back up and move forward. And then, oh, there's a question about, whatever magic this is. And it takes me in and takes me into this half form view. So you're able to just keep exploring, right? But if I go back to my main screen by clicking on these 4 little squares, these 4 squares always take you back to the main screen. We then have my library up here in the upper right-hand corner. And this is where more magic happens. And so these views that I've created are here in my favorites. I'm going to create a tour. And so I just come in here and I create a tour. And now it takes me back to those favorites. And now, moving my zoom box, I can then create whatever, take whatever view. I now create this tour. Let's see, where's my done button? I have too many boxes here. Save in the middle, office hour tour. Give it just 1 second. This is so exciting. And the thing is our team has been working on this and we just launched it. And like, literally we joke that it was like the longest gestation period ever. Cause we're just like, when's it coming? When's it coming? When's it coming? So what's happening right now is it's syncing. I can access that tour on my iPad. So I can go to my iPad and it's going to be the same login credentials. And then I can get that. And so here's that tour. And so now I've got those views that I saved. And again, I have all of that same functionality that I can rotate, I can add. It's a live experience, so you can continue to add to this. And then down here, I can share this. And now I can share this link with my students. So I send them that link. And if they are on their iPad, they can just open it right up. If they're in Atlas, if they're on the web, they just click here and they paste that link in, and then they have this view. And this is brand new as of day before yesterday. So what do you think, Louise?
Speechless. Very exciting. You mentioned about iPad and phone for augmented reality. For the teacher in the classroom, would that be laptop, or what you're showing me here now doing? That's possible on the laptop, or does the teacher have to be in iPad phone mode as well?
So everything is the same on the web version and the mobile version, with the exception of augmented reality. Augmented reality, you need the mobile, but all of this can be done on the web, or it can be done on an iPad. It's completely compatible. From the beginning, our content has been built to work on both platforms. Now, Visible Body Courseware, which is the learning platform where you create assignments, and you can create an assignment with that link that we just created to that tour. You can then have an assignment that your students go through that. Students do need to be on a computer in order to complete the assessments in the quiz bank, in the quizzing. And we have multiple choice, short answer, and dissection questions. And so the quizzing component does need to be on a computer.
Great.
I've talked a lot. Keisha, what do you have to add?
I was going to say, notice there Bloom's taxonomy there. So if you're really looking at stepping up your pedagogy, they also have this same way that you can capture. Really, like that's what I meant in the beginning, how you can assess your students on a different level. That dissection ability allows us to think about lab in a whole new space, in a whole new way. We get to engage them in like, I don't know about you guys, but setting up a practical during that first semester of being at home, that was a little bit of how am I going to make sure the picture loads in real time? How am I going to make sure that there's no internet connections? How is this going to work? Because obviously we're using picture-based in order to allow them to identify in lab, at least. This gave me a new tool to use. I can send my students into breakout rooms and I can say, you know, I'm about to come around. I'm going to give you a short little 10 question quiz, and I'm going to use Visible Body. And then they can go back and they say, okay, I missed that one this time, but I'm going to be ready the next time she comes. So again, new tools, new ways to think about this, new ways to approach it. And that's what we're always looking. That's the difference between experience and novice, that we have a couple more files in our cabinet. And that's what Visible Body does for you. Put some files right in at your fingertips that you can use, and new ideas that maybe you didn't think about before.
So this is an example of the quizzing platform. So you can see here, I have the ability to then dissect content away. So it's a real assessment component. And we provide 3,500 questions, but you can edit all of those questions. Plus you can create your own question from scratch as well. So you just have like the ultimate flexibility, but you also don't have to build everything to start with.
Awesome. We do have a couple of hands raised. So, Louise, do you have anything else before I?
No, thank you so much. That was really exciting. So thank you. Thanks for your time.
Awesome. Okay. Lisa has had her hand raised forever. So.
Okay, so when you're creating the tour, and you're going to give it to your students to go through, is this something that they can interact with, or is this like a video of you going through the tour?
Nope, this is something that they interact with on their own. So you basically build them this 3D presentation, and you give them the link, and then they go in and can basically explore it, interact with it however they want, and customize it themselves.
All right, so they can move it around and that
Yep.
sort of thing, and they don't have to just rely on the one picture I took.
No.
Good, that is all.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, and Donna has had her hand up as well for a while.
So Louise and I are actually part of the same organization and the school. So is there a quizzing platform already in place for the reproductive system and the respiratory system?
Oh yeah, we have a whole quiz bank full of preset questions based on system, as Mary is pulling up right now. So these are the ones that our team has made, but you can, as Mary also said, you can also edit those questions or create your own. So yeah, I mean, we have plenty to choose from.
So it's customizable. That's awesome.
Yes,
Absolutely,
it's
yeah.
searchable. And if one thing that we're not seeing here, and you might notice that there's several lab activities. On the lab activities, one thing I really like about them is they give a great introduction so the students can read. And then after that, they have questions that can be augmented reality. They could be fill in the blank. They could be labeling that particular structure, but it actually even has a second set of questions down. And this is how I would leverage it in my classroom. I would say, let us go through this activity in class together. We answer this set of questions as a class in the breakout rooms as a group. And then I say, guess what? I want you to now for iteration, right? Because we really have to, as educators, tell them what this time is of a study cycle, right? So before the next 24 hours, I want you to go through these student-led exercises by yourself, and then you turn it in. But I've already given them so much confidence, and I say, hey, you take 15 or 20 minutes outside of class, put it in your schedule, you're going to be able to make it through it. So it's almost like you get 2 assignments for the price of 1.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
All right, and I want to pay attention, or I want to talk about what Mary is showing right now. So we have 2 types of lab activities. So right here we have these PDFs that students can write in. As you can see, and they'll save it and then send it to you, and you can grade them. But we also have brand new an auto-graded labs course where we took all of those instructor-made lab activities and put them all into courseware. So we kind of cut out all of that grading time because the platform actually grades them for you. So Mary, do you want to actually go back and maybe show some of the stuff from the reproductive system, since that seems to
Yeah, it's good.
So yeah, so we have and each lab activity comes with a lesson plan as well. So it's not like we're kind of just throwing you into the deep end.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love this.
So you can see here again, this lesson plan we set up. And so here, this is the objectives.
All right, so you're following all of Bloom's taxonomy, and this is great.
Yes.
And then the other thing too is this is a Word document, so you can change it, right? Like you can change this how you want. So this is the lesson plan for you. That's one on heart conduction. I got to find my window again. There it is. Nope, that's not it. That's one of the many videos that I send. If I haven't sent you a video yet, just wait, it's coming soon. There it is, Chrome. So that lesson plan component then goes into these next pieces, which is where students then have information that they read through. So this then takes them into another app, Anatomy and Physiology, which is the app that's organized like a course that walks students through that content, and then they read through that information. And then the next piece that they go into is then they go into an assessment, and then they go deeper. And then this, putting it all together, has more information about physiology and higher level questions. So, but again, this is built for you, but it's all completely
customizable.
editable.
So if there are things that you don't need, you can take them right out, or you can add your own assignments into them.
And when you create a new assignment, you then have the ability to create content from our resources. So you can use that Human Anatomy Atlas share tool. You also have the ability to upload a file and link out to URL. So you don't have to get, the content that you've been using that you love. It's not like you get rid of the baby with the bathwater.
Oh, good, good, good.
And we didn't talk about this just yet, but you notice almost every time she opens up one of the assignments, there's a great animation. What they have done is get like really beautiful and a great time. You can put these inside of your class as you're teaching it. Give yourself a break, give yourself students a different perspective, and then they visualize it, and they're beautiful, produced, very detailed, a very good time, right? Because you want to really capture that time that you're in class and not always spend time showing them videos. So that is also something I didn't mention, but it just came up as we were looking at that. The videos are amazing. And I use this even
Yeah, I
in
was going to
like
say,
my
even
cellular
I
and
learned
molecular
something.
classes. Yeah, so I take this outside of anatomy and I teach basic biology classes. I love the cell. They have an interactive cell that you can rotate and look at like never before. I don't know if your students ever struggle with my
Are the basic living units
Oh, sorry.
of tissue.
It's funny that you actually bring up the cell. I remember going through the app for the first time, you know, when I had joined a million years ago, and we had, we have a video on DNA translation and transcription, which was something that I never really could visualize or really even understand when I took bio. And I watched this video for like it was like 35 seconds, and I was like, oh my God, I just got it. And I was like, here I am, 34 years old, and I finally got it. And it was all because of of that one video, which I then immediately like emailed my bio professor from 15 years ago and was like, hey, I just got it.
Also, too, I think you guys would also be interested in the pathology side of this. So not only can you teach your perspective from being a healthy, but you can also look at it in a pathology kind of a lens. Like, let's see what happens when X does. What is actually happening on the physiological and to your anatomy at that point? Powerful, powerful.
Disorder with acute airway defenses. It can be triggered by inhalation of certain particles, including allergens such as pollen, pet dander, and dust. Environmental changes.
So again, these resources are at your fingertips, and you can then create assignments where students are directed, and it will take them directly to this component so that they don't have to do click, 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 find. You're able to streamline it. And then the other thing too is that within courseware, you have the ability to then publish the content that you want. So we have this tool so that you can choose, because maybe you don't want to use everything. So you're just going to use, you know, different components of it, and then you publish it. You can delay your release. So it's really got all this really great functionality to build your course out. And in addition to the resources through the help articles, we provide full faculty training and support. So we have an engagement team. You can work individually with your rep, but we also have an engagement team that their sole job is to train and get professors up to speed and then keep them moving ahead. It's not just a one and done training, it's ongoing training. So we can do a check-in 3 weeks into the semester. We can do an advanced tips and tricks training. You know, we can take a look. We have Laura Sandhusen, who does work with us. She'll work one-on-one with professors to help them retweak their assignments so that they're smoother and they work better. So lots and lots of great resources. Because the thing too is, like, it serves us to get you up to speed and utilizing it because it's so user friendly. Then we're going to work with you guys forever, and you got to keep seeing, like, this Atlas update that we just added that tour sharing. There's no additional extra charge. You automatically get the updates and the new content anytime something becomes available. You have access to it with a Visible Body subscription.
Yeah, and we also, I know that Dr. B had mentioned this at the start of her presentation, but we have a whole slate of pre-made courses that correlate to basically whatever textbook that, you know, you're using or could possibly dream of. And if we don't have it, we'll ask you what you're using and we'll build you a correlation course just for you. So.
Yep.
All right, I think we're actually a couple of minutes over, but does anybody have any more questions? And again, if questions crop up, you know, after, you know, this this office hour ends, feel free to reach out to us. We want to know what you're thinking. So.
Absolutely. So I work with 6, 7 other reps, and we are standing by. We're eager to help you. We are available. You know, we want to get your questions answered. No question is dumb. No question is too small. We're really, really happy to help in any way. We have the ability to provide institutional pricing. Lisa is at Front Range Community College, which does exactly what Keisha was talking about, with a split where the biology department sponsors the purchase, students pay for part of it, and then the faculty pay for part of it. We can be really, you know, creative and work with you to put together packages that make sense. The pricing is so affordable, $50 for 2 full years, and that includes the permanent downloads. And then we do offer 1-year institutional pricing that starts at $40 per student, and that also includes the downloads. So we're happy to work with you. Thank you guys for joining us.
I think that's a good place to end.
Keisha, thank you.
Yes,
so
Dr.
much.
B, thank you.
Thank you, thank you,
Thank you for having me. I had a fun time. I always love to share what I know, because that's exactly how we continue to change and grow. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys.
Yes, thanks so much for joining us today. And look out for the email that I'm going to send tomorrow. It's going to be chock full of assets and resources for you, and as well as links to our previous webinars and office hours. So thank you, and we'll see you next time. All right. Bye, everybody.